Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Building Returns, hosted by Radio W.O.R.K.S. My name is John Stokoe, and I'm a founding partner of Source My Property, which is a property development and investment and portfolio building firm in South Wales of the UK. This radio show is called Building Returns, and it's all about the movers and shakers in the property and real estate industry globally. And my role here is to showcase those that are doing things differently, people that are doing things better than everybody else. And I really want to share their original flavor and show it off to other people and how they can get in contact with those people. Tonight, I have the honor to host an award-winning property entrepreneur, an international speaker and coach, and founder of The Property Direct, Deva Jeganathan. Good evening, Deva, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, John, and it's a great honor to be here. And thank you.
Lovely to have you. Before we get into the thick of it, Deva, and I start asking you about the business, because it's all about the business and it's all about the property, can you give our listeners a brief background on yourself, where you've come from, and your journey pretty much to get up to where you are now, pretty much before the property business, so before we get into the thick of it?
Okay, yeah, definitely. So as I said, my name is Deva Jeganathan. I'm the director of The Property Direct. What we do here is we create massive passive income through property. That's our vision. So going back to 2003, that's when I came to UK from India. So I came to do my MBA, and then I was a student. I came to UK with £673.
Okay.
So that's all the money I had when I came to this prime land, thinking this is the golden surface of the world. And then I didn't know London was that expensive from India. So
Yes.
Within a week I lost all my money on my expenditures.
And okay, probably not for one day, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a real rough start as a student. So I started working 3 jobs, and then completed my MBA, and then started off on a corporate job, which I quite didn't like.
Okay. What was that involved in, Deva?
It was, probably you guys know what you heard of Corals, the bookmakers?
Yes.
Yes, so I was working with them as a part-time, cashier when I was a student. Okay. And then when I finished my MBA, I got promoted into an area manager.
Okay, good.
So I was running the southeastern area. So I was the youngest area manager ever for Corals right now.
The work ethic was strong from early on.
Yeah. So by 30, I wanted to become a CEO. That's my goal.
Okay.
So I won't, but then I never got there. I couldn't break the glass ceiling. So I didn't know about the role. But then
decided to go do it for yourself.
Yeah. I wanted to get into property anyway. So I was getting into property late 2006, 2007. So actually, It's been 10 years since I got involved in property.
So how did you get involved? Did you stumble on it, or did you start doing some training, or how did you start learning about how property worked in the UK?
Yes, early 2007, I started off with Tigrant.
Okay.
So I started my education with them, and then they told me how to do property without money.
Okay. Here's a quick question. You started in 2007.
Yeah.
How was that going through the property market crash, and how much did you learn through that time?
It's been good for me because at the time I didn't know what the crash is. I didn't know what's the how the market is going, because I was so early and so new to the property industry. I got in.
Sorry, did they teach you in those days? Was it all about the capital growth, or were they talking about locking in income streams from property in those days?
when you start, how they say is when you start, you start with, normal buy-to-let, small buy-to-lets.
Okay.
And then, cash in, cash out, just make
Okay.
a cash flow strategy. So that's what I've been taught. So, but by the time I hit the ground to start, the crash came in, and the strategies that I learned couldn't be used in practical manner.
Aha.
The market changed.
Okay.
So I had to relearn everything from
education, on the ground education. Yeah. In
the
your
ground.
wallet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when the rubber hit the road, it wasn't, it wasn't the easy ride.
But you knew even through the crash, when it was tough, that property was your game. What you wanted to be involved.
The biggest thing was like I at the time I started with Tiger, and I paid over $25,000 for my education.
Okay. You got to make it.
Yeah, I had a big credit card, bills, and all that. So my first focus wasn't like making the big thing on the property. Just I wanted to make that $25,000, pay that credit cards off, and then I'll do whatever I want. So that was my first goal. So when the crash came in, the market was flooded with properties. So it was like really a buyer's market.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I had my friends who had some money, so I borrowed some money and then started investing and remortgaging, and that's how we started.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
And so you using other people's money to pretty much start and build your own property empire and all that.
Pretty much.
What did that grow into, Deva?
One thing, when people say you can't raise money, I think that's not. I take it, that's something, it's something that they are telling themselves.
Self-limiting.
Yeah.
And I see it every day as well. It's people that just haven't seen it for themselves. When you've done it once or twice, I don't want to say the word how easy it is, but how it's a bit of a system. And it's the old story. If you find the right opportunity or the right investment or the right deal,
the money will follow.
The money will come. And that's part of the message. That's one of the key things that I want to explain to the viewers is everybody out there is petrified. Oh, I can't do property. I can't make money in property. I haven't got any money. You don't need to have any money to start off with property. You arrived with 600 and something pounds and 25 grand in debt on your credit card, and now you're flying. And how I suppose you put money into your own deals when you want to, but you don't have to.
I hardly put money into our deals. I hardly put my money into my deals. Hardly I have money in my bank as well, because like every time when the money comes in, money goes out to another deal, and it goes, go back. You either you invest in yourself or you invest in the property. So that's how you roll.
Your money you invest in yourself, and you have other people invest in the properties on your behalf.
True.
There we go. Yeah, that's fine. So just rapid fire your journey from doing a couple of baby buy-to-lets. You've done a couple of money in, money out deals. I'll explain that to the viewers. Pretty much what that means is you've bought a property that your financial outlay or other people's financial outlay is X, to say simple numbers, £20,000. You need that to get into the deal. You've uplifted the value of the property in some way, either when you've bought it or by renovating, increasing the value of the property. And at that stage, you're then refinancing at the higher level and cycling that 20,000 and your refurbishment money out. So now you're sitting equity in a property that effectively you have no money in. You've paid off your investor and you retain the property with the equity, and you continue to gather cash flow off the top of that. Is that correct?
That's right. The only difference is down south. We mainly invest down in Kent, southeast of England, and Reading. So this is kind of an expensive market when you compare to northern part of UK.
Sure.
So here, when you refinance, you wouldn't pull out all your money. Say
The market's definitely changed by area and by time. Yeah.
If your initial investment is say 150K on your first remortgage, probably you might pull out your 80K, your 90K, and then you leave for another another year or so and go back to revisit the property, and in 2 years' time you pull all your money out.
There you go. So in 2 years you have all your money out. So effectively the returns, your cash flow is infinite.
Yeah, infinite. Yeah, after 2 years, obviously, your cash flow is infinite, and then down south growth is very high. It grows around 18 to 20%. So
that's the real thing. A lot of property companies will very easily sell you the courses that you can. Every deal is money in, money out.
Yeah,
they are out there, but not all the time.
Yeah, not all of them. Yeah.
But if you spend your time waiting for those, you'll hardly ever do a deal. So you've got to take some of the good and the bad. But you tell me any other investment that's bricks and mortar and stable, unless it's some weird or fanciful Ponzi scheme or anything, where you can cycle all your money out within 2, even 3 years, and then get an infinite return after that. So effectively, if you're getting all your money out in 3 years, that's a 33% return every single year capital on your capital, which is phenomenal. Then after that, it's infinite.
What you see on property is this is the only place where you could leverage so much. The banks would lend you up to 75%, even 80%. Yes. If you go to a bank and say, "Hey, I'm going to do," say even now I think cryptocurrency is like in high bubble now. So if you go to a bank and say, "I'm going to do a cryptocurrency, which is, I'm going to buy bitcoins, which is going on, 300% rise. Could you lend me 100K?" I don't think any bank would. But if you go to any bank and say, "I'm going to buy a property, could you lend 80% of the money?" Everyone would do. So
correct. So leverage capabilities that you get off the yes. And this is the thing that I try and explain to people, that what I call throw darts when they want to buy shares. They haven't got so if you go and buy £100,000 worth of Google or Facebook shares, and you go to your bank manager and say it's a sure thing, they're the biggest company in the world, they're not going anywhere, or Apple, I mean, they got more cash than some countries. Sure. Will you lend money to buy shares in them? What's your bank manager going to say? No. But you can with property.
Yeah. So if you have 100K, you don't have to go and put all the 100K in one property. You can leverage with the banks, and probably you could buy 3 properties.
Correct.
Yeah. So and you 3 times 3. If you work the permutations and combinations, it's a bigger number that you are working on.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's put it politely, the simple mechanics behind the property industry is the leverage that you can get, and understanding that you uplift the value in the property. Sometimes you're buying it right, so you're buying it at a lower price, lower than what the market price is, or even if you're buying close to what the market value is, that you can build in the value. I don't know, subdivide it or repaint it, completely regut it, put kitchens and bathrooms in, or when you're getting to the bigger level, you're building in extra rooms, you're building in bathrooms, you might be doing HMOs or for student accommodation. So you are in control of increasing the value of that property.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, you then cycle your money back out again and go and do it again.
Yeah, you just cookie cutting.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is how you're doing it, and simplistically. So now, can you explain to the viewers and listeners in your own words what your business is doing now? Is it doing that, or is it doing it on a grander scale? Explain to me what the property director is and how it's made up. And what
property director does is we do 2 things. One is we help new investors to get into property and build their portfolio. That's one thing that we do. So anyone who would like to start their journey in property, we help them, we strategize, and then we help them to build their portfolio. That's one thing.
So is that sort of a coaching element and coaching and a mentoring?
Yes, we will do coaching. But if they don't want coaching, we'll just do on a consulting basis.
Okay, so it's consulting slash sourcing properties.
Yeah, sourcing properties, managing properties, and then we will put them in touch with the right, the brokers, the accountants, the fund managers to fund their projects, and the exact formula that I use to build my portfolio.
Awesome. So they're learning from your skill set.
Yeah, definitely.
You have made it skill set. And so you're finding the properties, which we call in the industry sourcing. I assume you then, once the person has bought it, whether through a joint venture or their own, I assume you're helping them with builders and project managing it as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then when it's finished, do you either sell it, or do you have a letting?
Yeah. And then we after 6 months we help them to refinance it, and then it goes to a second property, or probably usually when we take them clients, we have a 5-year plan with the client. So because what I believe is property is a long-term game. If you can't think of 5-year plan, don't get into property.
Sure. The get rich quick stories.
Yeah. That wouldn't work in property.
You'll probably get rich quick in 5 years when you know property and you know the contacts. Then you'll do the big deal.
Yeah. But once you are into property 5 years, I don't think you would fancy any other investment anyway.
No, sure. But the other thing that I love with property is, even though you are helping somebody who's, say, freshly out of property school, for example, if you're helping getting them on the ladder, you're making a friend for life.
Yeah.
And as they grow, you're going to grow, and your projects that you're doing together are going to grow. So there's always a joint venture. There's always a mutualistic relationship that you can have. And it's really satisfying to grow businesses and grow individuals and see people become financially free and be able to live their lives that they choose to live, but have to live because of their job. I started off very similar to you, probably a few years behind you, but doing the same sort of thing and working with people and taking them from sometimes a complete lack of belief. I can't do this. I don't have any money. I don't know how to do the next thing, and just helping them over the line once or twice, and then watching them almost leave the nest and be able to do it on their own is fantastic. And that's one of my main drivers behind it. And I know I've spoken to you before about doing it, and it's a great environment to be in. Can you give me some ideas in terms of numbers now, without giving too much away? Don't worry. The sort of size of transactions that you're doing in the Property Direct.
I think as I said, like, we have two streams in Property Direct. One is helping the starters to get into property. So that depends on their capital. So probably, we buy properties around, down south. If you are doing an HMO, probably we buy around 150 to 200. Small HMOs, 5-6 bedroom to start with, and then we build their portfolio through that.
Okay.
And the second part of the company is all joint venturing. So we've worked with high net worth individuals who are cash rich, time poor. So we work with them on a joint venture. So with them, we do all kind of projects. We're building 8 flats in Folkestone, and then another 5 flats as well. And then we're doing a ground development in Reading. That's a 12 semis.
Okay.
So with joint ventures, the biggest deal that we are doing is 3.8 million development.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many units is that?
That one would be 34 units.
Okay. So give me so you said how much? How many million?
3.4.
So what's the price of, call it we're not giving away too much, but generically, what would the price be of the land?
The purchase, it's a conversion project.
Okay.
Development project.
So your initial purchase?
Yeah, we're buying the existing building for 3.4, and there is a 3.2 million of works and renovations and build.
Okay, so you're up to 6.6, yeah?
Yeah, and the GDV is around 10.1.
There you go. So it's a third.
Third. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and your initial third, because ideally, tell me if you do it differently, ideally your initial third, your 3 point, whatever it is, that's probably covered by an investor.
Yeah, that's actually, we've got a 60% lending on that.
Okay, so you can do it that way. So your investor's paying 40% of the 3 point, what have you, and then you're getting the development finance.
Yeah, we're getting 50% of the developing cost.
Okay, and how much of your money are you putting into a £10 million deal?
No, not any.
And there you have it, folks. Anybody who's listening,
the work.
you're obviously doing the work, and there's time and there's cost of money and all the rest of that. But you're not having to go to the bank, having to do it. So if you're willing to work hard, like I said, you find the right deals and you bring them to the likes of myself and you bring them to Deva. If the deal stacks up, we're going to put the right people together. If you haven't got any money, we'll look at joint venturing with you. But if you found a phenomenal deal and you came to Deva and we're doing a 10 million GDV deal, then there's no reason why you couldn't do it on your very first deal. There's no reason. I'll be honest, it doesn't happen very often. But if you find the right deal, you bring it to the right people, and they will make it happen. Deva, how do our listeners, how do they get hold of you?
They can come to my website, www.thepropertydirect.com. Go to my website, and then you can get in touch, or you can email me at deva@thepropertydirect.com.
Okay, fine. And are you on Facebook? What's the preferred Facebook page?
Yes, you can get into Facebook, and I'm in Facebook, Deva Jeganathan.
Okay.
That's my preferred. That's the only Facebook account that I have.
So no Property Direct. Don't need it because you are the brand.
Yeah, I'm the brand. We have the Property Direct brand as well. But then I use my brand. My wife manages the Property Direct brand. So
we'll get onto branding a little bit meatier a little bit later in the show. Okay, just moving swiftly on Deva. What sets you apart? What makes you different from the rest of the people out there? Why should people be coming to you? What's your USP?
My biggest USP is trust.
Okay.
That's my value and USP. Because what it is, I'm a very down-to-earth person, no matter what I do. And then, I've my granddad who passed away this year. He's been my mentor since I was little kid. Okay. So every time he says, whatever you do in this world, you have to be very trustworthy. That's how he, brought me up, and that's my core value, to be frank.
That's fantastic. I have a very similar. My dad's also a senior citizen. Fortunately, is still around. I asked him once. He was a partner at Deloitte for many years, and I asked him what was the secret behind his success. And he said, integrity beyond question. And I think that comes back to yours, which is trust. If you completely trust someone, people are going to want to be doing business with you. So it's brilliant. Good to know. My next question was going to be, how did you arrive at that point? But you've clearly stipulated where they came from, instilled from a respectful individual, a learned individual who provided his wisdom to you. So that's awesome. Obviously,
what he taught me was trust is something 100% or 0%.
Sure.
There's nothing in between.
Sure. It's like a brand.
Yeah.
100% off. Yeah, that's it.
Or none. So always, I strive to keep that 100% whatever it is. Because I know if someone trusts me 99%, still they're not trusting me.
Okay, that's really good to know. I think that's a very powerful point, and it's good to get out there. And I don't even have to ask the next question, which is, why is it important to the business? It is the business.
It is the business.
Without that, the business would not exist as it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that brings us neatly on to branding. And branding and being visible out there is vital in today's world.
Yes.
Social media. How do you see yourself being perceived, and how do you work with social media to protect and create that brand?
But I mean, 2-3 years ago, I wasn't so visible as much as I am today. I wasn't branded as much I am today.
Okay.
But I was doing, I mean, similar deals. I had the deals wise, I had the better deals. And then since I wasn't branded that much, people didn't know what I was really doing.
Yep.
It's like I was an invisible man who's doing the good things.
Okay.
But but I've heard the phrase, visibility is credibility.
Sure.
Visibility is credibility.
Okay. Yes.
So when I've heard that phrase, but never practically had an experience on that. But
Okay.
then since I met my mentor JD Fox years ago, then he said this is your problem because you're not visible and you need to be really branded. So we did some branding exercises, and then my business just shot off. It went through the roof.
So who manages your social media for you now?
Yes.
So who looks after your social media?
My wife, she's a marketing and branding expert.
Oh,
So
outstanding.
All my marketing and branding and all of that. And then we have a company in US that we work with. They help a lot in social media marketing.
Okay. No, that's good. And I think that's a lot of people miss the importance of the branding. I mean, your specialty, your skill set is property. Your skill set is not branding. However, the business couldn't exist without the branding. So it's outstanding that you've got a wife and partner and business colleague that's helping you on that side. And I think this is an area where people do fall down, is they're trying to get that success. They don't understand why others are achieving that level of success. And it's the branding that they don't have.
Makes the difference. Yeah, definitely.
So getting out there, being visible, stop taking photos of your food and putting it on Facebook, and start taking photos of your £10 million deal. You put that on Facebook, people are starting to speak to you. Be associated, get out on media like we are right now. Be associated with successful and showbiz people, whatever it is. It gains attractiveness for other people. And from that, start talking to more people, and your network is your net worth, and you grows that, and that's the way it all builds. Would you agree with that?
Spot on.
Excellent. So just moving swiftly on, Deva, we've discussed the business side of life. I've also touched on the fact that your wife's involved. Your life's balance. How do we balance off the heavy demands of work? And it's not a job, it's work, and we love it. It's a passion, I know. So how do you balance the demands of that with family life and leisure time?
That's a very, very good question, and a very hard question to answer because I'm the one thing that me and my wife argue is I'm kind of a workaholic, right? I work all 7 days, 24 hours. If you tell me to work, it's not work for me. I'm just so I don't feel it's working. But then now we have a 3-year-old daughter, so she needs she needs attention. She's the only child. She needs more attention. For those of you who's got one kid at home. So what we do is we have evening fun days at home, and usually Sunday I try not to do any business stuff unless and otherwise it's really needed. Have a family day on Sunday.
Do you ever turn this off?
No, never.
So that's why your wife is still fighting with you.
Yes, but then she loves it. I mean, she's one of the core what do you say
supporters?
Support factor that I am what I am today.
That's brilliant. Yeah, they always say you can only be as strong as the person that sits behind you and that's pushing you forward.
Definitely. And she's the one who I call her. She's the kick-ass lady at home, right? So
awesome.
Yeah, if I don't do the stuff, if you don't close the deals, she's the one I have to answer to. At the same time, if I work too much, and still she's the one I have to answer to.
Sounds like you've got a great balance here. That's great to know. I'm very fortunate to have that, and I think this is just a time to have a shout out to all the powerful women that sit behind the scenes that we don't always get to see. You know, we travel the world and we do stuff, but quite often there's a very powerful, strong mum that's supporting us. Just the very fact that they allow us to travel around the world and they support us for that and motivate us, I think that's a great thing. So a big shout out to all the mums and the mums out there that support dads that are doing it. And obviously, I'm not saying all the mums stay at home. I'm not saying that at all. But for the ones that do, thanks. And there's a lot of very powerful property ladies out there, and a lot to be seriously respected. Okay, I'm sort of getting a whole picture of it, of where you are right now. We've spoken about where you were, spoken about sort of where you are right now, the business that you're dealing with now. What's the design? It's the old HR interview question. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years' time? Where are you going? What does it look like there?
3 to 5 years, probably. I'm getting into, we bought a couple of B&Bs now. We're building a chain of B&Bs, and I want to get into hotels. That's what we're moving into.
Moving the bar up, keep on challenging.
Moving the bar up.
But the formula is the same.
Sorry?
Would you agree that the formula is the same?
It's the same. I mean,
60,000 or 16 million. It's just the number of zeros on the end.
It's the same thing. It's the same formula. But I mean, they say that the zeros that comes, at the back doesn't matter.
So that's what you're looking to. So into bigger hotels.
Hotel developments, or franchise hotels. We're looking at a couple of Holiday Inns at the moment. So probably that's what we're going into.
Now, I've seen photos of you with somebody in the Hilton family. So are you going to be going to him for a little bit of guidance, or?
Definitely. Yes. we've had a brief chat when I met him in Los Angeles 2 months ago. So yes.
Amazing man. I'll tell you what, my big takeaway is he started off this conversation and he was talking about sourcing property and how important it was and how trust was important as well. That was my big takeaway. And I said, wow, here's somebody that's in the Hilton family, the Hilton hotels and business and property group that's talking about sourcing properties. I thought that was fantastic. So he's a good one to have. And this is the key thing about being and associating with the right people, is the people that you surround yourself and you learn from those people. So I know you've had a great journey, you've been successful. So I know, combined now, for you to live out your 3 to 5 year dream, it's entirely going to happen because the right people are around you to make that happen.
Definitely.
The right mentors. And that's the only way. You keep on pushing yourself up, keep on drawing and keep on learning, and that's the exciting part.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
There you go. Absolutely. And if you don't want to grow, that's fine. You can do your thing. Leave the growing up to us. We're going to be doing all the living. We're moving very neatly onto next questions as well. Network, vitally important. What do you do in terms of networking, and how do you grow and support your business network to keep it growing, and why is it important to you?
Yes, I didn't understand the real power of networking until 2 years ago, because I'm a very introvert, left brain person. So I used to go to network events, and then I sit. I always find the corner chair. I don't know why. And then I sit and I just speak to the next person, and that's my networking for the day.
Okay. So those that are listening, he does still attend networking events, but now he's not sitting in the corner. Deva is the guy that's giving the speeches. Deva is the guy that's delivering the knowledge, and everybody else is sitting in the corner and writing notes and learning from him. So I think that's a fantastic journey that you've gone on. Do you still attend property networking events on the quiet to learn and meet people?
Yeah, definitely. I attend at least two to three networking event a month, or more. I mean, apart from my speaking events that I attend. So when you speak, then you network as well.
Sure.
So So the only thing I've which I had to overcome is put yourself in front, and then speak, and then get to know people and try and help them. And more you try to help them. It's how you build that relationship, and and then I mean, one thing what people don't understand is when you meet someone for the first time, you don't ask something from them. You always try and give them something and see how you could build that relationship. Provide value. You're right. So once you build that relationship, then you can go into business and do whatever you want.
Sure. And you've built the trust. You can't go asking somebody for money or to do business when you haven't got anything. When you've given something and you're building the trust, then it builds. You also touched on a very important point, and Deva, it's something that I always like to call out or sort of sideline or find out about the individual, about sort of the heart and the goodness inside that person that I'm speaking to. And it comes down to gratitude. In what way do you, what do you, I'm going to ask sort of what are you grateful for, but also what do you do from a philanthropic point of view? Do you give back? Are you involved in a charity, or do you work ethically with property? Tell me, what is it that is the good part in your soul? What is it that does?
Okay, we do a lot of charity works. One is I'm a keen runner, so I do run a lot of marathons, marathons, and I work with the.
What's your fastest marathon time?
Sorry?
What's your fastest marathon time?
Fastest marathon time, 3 hours 53 minutes, I think.
That's quick. That's quick. Under 4 hours is a quick marathon. Wow. Impressive.
That's the one and only under 4 hours.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, I work with Children's Trust in Tedworth. So every time I run, about whatever I raise is for them.
Okay.
And every December, just before the Christmas, maybe 23rd or 24th, there is an event called Basket Brigade.
Okay.
Where it's a Tony Robbins event where we get together, we build baskets. Food and goods, and then we deliver it to the people who are in need.
Yeah, it's a fantastic.
I do that every year we do that, whatever it is. That day, that one whole day is we give it to Basket Brigade.
That's brilliant. When we were in LA, one of my takeaways from listening to all of the stars, and pretty much every single one was, it's not about the money that you make, it's the good that you do with the money that you make that is important. And that's a big thing. I mean, we're in the property industry, we can be talking about some big numbers, but if we're not changing the world, if we're not making the world a better place in some way, and everybody's different in their own way, then I just battle with, why are you doing it? Doing it for greed. What was in the movie? They said greed is good. Greed is good if we can then do something good with it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's really humbling. It's lovely to see somebody that, Deva, listening to your story, start from 627 pounds, arriving here 15 years ago, being a student, working your way up, starting in the property industry, to having your own business, to now training and working with other people, not sitting on the side of the room at the network event, to now handling the networking event, doing £10 million deals, coaching and mentoring people, and at the same time having the philanthropic mindset and capabilities in working with people and giving back. Deva, you're a whole person. You're a fantastic person, an honorable person to know, and a trustworthy person to know. And this is why I had to get you on the show, and I'm honored to have you on the show. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to say, you want to speak to the viewers, or anything that you want to say about your journey, anything at all?
Yes, I mean, one thing I believe, whoever wants to get to property or any business, one thing I always, when I speak, I finish with this quote by saying, if you do anything with passion, there's nothing in this world can stop you. That's my
Correct.
quote. So
Absolutely
whatever you do with passion, live with passion.
Yeah. Live it, visualize it, breathe it. It'll happen. It'll be good. And for the right reason. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Definitely.
Deva, thank you very much for your time this evening. Again, I'm honored to have you on the show. Ladies and gentlemen out there in property land, this has been Building Returns from Source My Property. Please return again next week again, where we're going to have another global successor, somebody that's working, somebody that's shaking it up in the property industry. Tonight, we've had Deva Jeganathan. Thank you very much for your time and have a great evening. Thanks. Cheerio now.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.